I'm James Frere, host of the Republican Town Hall Meeting on Channel 12 TV Network at South Coast Guns in Street, Illinois. And I'm here with previous Darren Bailey, who ran against Pritzker and unfortunately lost. Mr. Bailey, nice to have you here. And tell me what it's like running for governor.
Well, first of all, it's great to be back. And second of all, that is Cindy and I's passion to get Illinois straightened up. And it was an opportunity of a lifetime to run for governor. And, you know, it was interesting because of the people that were continually fueling us with encouragement. You know, even some Win Red, for example, where we were selling some of our merchandise. They were also working with the Trump organization, and they would call us frequently, call our campaign leaders and ask what in the world is going on in Illinois, because this Bailey guy, you guys are Christmas time, we had wrapping paper and we sold out of it in 2 weeks. And they admitted and acknowledged that, you know, we had a movement that was second only to, you know, President Trump's movement, obviously dwarfed a little bit, but there was a lot of hope. There still is hope in Illinois, but every day that Pritzker and the Democrats continue to rule and reign in Springfield, it just continues to beat down a conservative, moral, Christian voice. And we look forward and we wait to the day that we can overcome that. But I'm telling you, we have to have a strong base. We have to have people elected in precinct committees. We have to have Republicans who stand on our values and on the platform. And only then will we be able again to take back Illinois.
And what is it like, you know, the campaign trails?
Well, it's interesting because you know, as a Christian and just tapping into God's power, we never really got tired. It was amazing. There are times when I'll look back and in the morning there'll be a Facebook post that pops up what we were doing 2 and 3 and 4 years ago, and Cindy and I will look at that and we'll think, how in the world were we doing that? We'd be up at 5 in the morning taking off, and many times we'd get in at midnight or in 1 in the morning. There were some times when at Effingham, Illinois, I live 30 miles south of there, there were several occasions when we would drive to Chicago, come back, go back towards Chicago, and come back all in one day. Many times I had a good friend that would fly me, but there were times when we had interviews, when we had pre-scheduled meetings that we couldn't change. I'm going to tell you something. It was just that power and that exhilaration that was taking place. We were on mission, and we knew we could win, but we fell short. And end of the day, I'd do it all over again. But we learned a lot, and we know what needs to change.
And what's your issues with a person like you running against an incumbent?
Well,
it's certain issues.
Well, it's obvious. It's just the issues are that Illinois is tired of being burdened. I mean, this country was founded on too many taxes from the crown, and that is really, at the end of the day, people are burdened. They're sick and tired of government infringing in their business. They're sick and tired of the threat of losing their Second Amendment rights. So just about everything that this constitutional republic stands for is being threatened by the powers that are in position in Springfield today, and that's what people are tired of.
And what can our constituents do?
That is a wonderful question. Listen, that is such an important question, because when we went to Springfield on November 8th, that evening of the election results, I knew we had it won. I knew we had it. And at 2 minutes until 7, when AP News called the race, we were devastated. And we continued to wait for another hour and a half because we just knew the news had to be different. But at the end of the day, it was Republican conservative voters that did not show up in a midterm race. It was over half of the precincts in our county GOPs that were not filled by people who could and should have been walking out, knocking on doors and encouraging people to vote and getting them to vote early. That's what we must do. We must ensure that our votes get in. We must ensure that our neighbors and our friends are registered to vote and that they vote. That is the only way. Discount, cheating, discount, all that stuff you're hearing, the Republican Party conservatives are failing to show up and vote at the polls. That's why we're losing.
Right. Now, one more thing. What about early mail-in voting? I've worked the streets. I worked part-time at a gas station. And this Republicans, they don't trust mail-in.
That's right. I know. Early voting, I'm telling you, is there the possibility to cheat? Yes, there is. But it's been tested. I've placed myself in many county clerk's office and went through the motions of, okay, can I vote twice type situation. I'm telling you, it's difficult. The biggest problem is that come election day, when many Republicans, good Republicans, believe they need to vote, come election day, you get sick, you forget, you go to work, you go to vacation. It's happening. Too many people are forgetting and failing to vote. Getting that vote in early is literally consequential. That is how J.B. Pritzker won the election in 2022. He was paying volunteers. He was paying volunteers $30 an hour. He spent $35 million to go out knocking on doors on low propensity voters, people who hadn't voted in 10 or 15 years. And guess what? Well, not only was this person glad that somebody came to the door, but this person also now had 2, 3, 4 other legal age voters that weren't registered. So they were able to come back 3 different times, collect the vote, collect the ballot, and send it in. It is absolutely, that is the number one thing we have to focus on, is getting our vote in at all costs.
And then how do we emphasize the importance of a midterm?
Well, Illinois, thank you. The importance of a midterm. Illinois. We have a governor's race coming up. We've got a Illinois, the chance for a U.S. Senate position, and I'm telling you, in 2026 coming up, it's going to be tough because the Republicans do not have their act together. If everybody who is so frustrated at Illinois wanting to move out of the state, you're frustrated at your schools because they're invading homeschooling, or schools are failing, Second Amendment rights. It's great to have President Trump in office, but we have got to rescue Illinois. So for most practical purposes, a midterm election is probably the most important election that Illinois faces right now.
Yeah, you ever thought about running again?
I think about it every day. We're turning that over to God. It'll be a late announcement as to what we do, but we're concerned and frustrated that as of right now, we just had the consolidated elections 3 weeks ago. So had about a 10 to 15% turnout across the state. So the concern is real. What we learned, what we know, honestly, I have not seen any improvement that Republicans and people are going to show up to vote.
All right, Mr. Bailey, nice meeting you.
God bless. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, friends, up next, we have Darren Bailey. Darren is an American politician who was a Republican member of the Illinois Senate for the 55th District and previously a member of the Illinois House of Representatives for the 109th District in Southern Illinois. He's widely described by news outlets as a far-right politician. Round of applause, please. Yeah. We want more far-right, don't we? We are tired of these leftists. Yes, so we invited Darren and Cindy. And here's Darren, and give him a big round of applause. Darren Bailey.
Well, Cindy is around the corner. I know several of you were asking where she was at. So she was out on the phone and then closed her eyes for a few minutes, but we got her back now. It's interesting because James asked me earlier what it was like running for governor, and there's hardly a day that goes by that on Facebook that, your past photos show up, and we look at what we were doing 2 years ago, 3 years, or 4 years ago, and it's like, oh my goodness. I mean, every single day we were leaving the house by 5 o'clock in the morning, whether we were up at North Aurora or Chicago or at home, and we would always get in, usually no earlier than 1 in the morning, and that was 24/7, and it was awesome because I got to meet good friends like you. We got to expel hope. We got to let you know that there is hope in Illinois. So during this journey, people still ask where I live. We live south of Effingham. Anybody know where Effingham, Salem, Flora? Okay, so 30 miles south of Effingham on Route 45, you run into the little community of Louisville. You'll see a sign as soon as you come in there, Full Armor Christian Academy. That Cindy and I started that about 10 years ago. And I and my family, we farm, have a trucking company and an excavating business, and just enjoy freedom. So on this campaign trail, some of you, I think, may have come to notice me in April of 2020 with remember the 2 weeks to flatten the curve? Well, we found out that it was 2 weeks to flatten America, I think. So Cindy came up with this wonderful idea to get on Facebook and the entire month of April and do devotions every morning at 8 o'clock. So I did. Got on there and just talked about hope. There wasn't anything to talk about government except telling people, don't close, stay open, do whatever you have. Because it was March 17th, which was my birthday, and when I won the primary into the Senate, 2 weeks from then to April 1st. in that 2-week period, it's just like, okay, something's not right here. This just does not feel right. So I'd get on Facebook every morning for a month, and that's kind of what began my Facebook Lives, and it was amazing. Give a little bit of hope and read from my devotional that I was reading and pray. And since then, just everywhere I go, I'll tell stories, and I'm not a good storyteller, but I'll just tell some stories, and people are like, well, I've never heard that before. And then I have friends, because for years, for the past 25 years, I've read the Bible through from cover to cover during the entire year consistently. And I also, in the morning time, when I get up at 5, I'll spend the first few moments of reading out a devotional, praying, and reading out of the Bible. And so people began to kind of come along and said, you ought to write a devotion with some of your stories that you tell. And that was a passion. And the one young man that kept pressing me, I said, listen, I'm too busy. You figure it out and I'll do it. Well, God is good. And about a month later, he called me and said, hey, I found somebody that'll help you with this. So that was what the story is behind Rooted for a Reason. As Cindy and I travel the state, we run across a lot of people. It's kind of hopeless in times of despair here in Illinois. And I like to tell stories. We hear everything: family troubles, financial troubles, business troubles, just everything. And people really feel defeated. And I can tell you in my lifetime, because I'm just like a bull in a china cabinet, I'll usually say it or do it, or shoot first and then ask questions. And I've done that a lot, but I found out by the grace of God, every morning when I get up, it's a new day. And I can seek forgiveness. I can get back on the right track. And that's kind of the stories, most of these stories of when I've stuck my foot in my mouth or when I've learned little small lessons. And I just wanted to share those. And as a farmer growing corn, soybeans, and wheat, Rooted for a Reason, God has you where you're at for a reason. So use the time that you are there, wherever it is. Even if you desire for something else, doesn't matter. Wait for Him to uproot you and replant you. But be purposeful with your time here on earth. And that's what you're doing here right now. You have a passion for Second Amendment rights. So you're showing up, and thank you for that. And it's really awesome as I'm standing back there looking, and I'm seeing the hats that are on, and the Trump shirt, I love Jesus, make America great, America with the flag, the NRA. Have you ever wondered when you show up, talk to a Democrat group, what they have on? Because I don't ever see that. I'm dead serious. I've never been there, but I've seen things on TV, and I don't ever see I love Jesus. I don't ever see the flag. Republicans have Lincoln Day and Reagan Day dinners. They don't. Guys, this is about freedom. This is about this constitutional republic that we're fighting for. And it is serious, but it is as blatant as what I just mentioned. We have two different groups of people seeking two different Americas. Okay, and I want to suggest one goes back to before our founding when we were under English rule. So we've got to make sure that doesn't happen. I sit here and I've known Crystal for a while and some of her races, and I will admit, one of my things that I probably regret running for governor, I thought I wouldn't get out there and make some of the endorsements that I wanted to make. But I would tell people, I'd tell Crystal, come and take pictures, come to my events, and people would get it. And I thought, upon winning that primary, if you remember, we won a 6-way primary. It took 57% of the vote. That was a powerful message. And I really thought that after that, I could build unity back in the Republican Party. The guys aren't. Yeah, thank you. You summed it up. Our party's fractured. It's a mess. Okay. So this book back here, this quarterly that I told you, this little magazine. Grab one of those, because there is some amazing plans. The Republicans with the Illinois Freedom Alliance and up in Rock Island County, there's a plan in there of how you get your county under control. So take one, thank you. Take one, subscribe to this, join the ISRA. I think it's $20 a year to get connected with these people. It's at grassroots. It's small meetings like this. It's small organizations like this. And that is the only way that we're going to take Illinois back. Everyone is asking what I'm going to do next. I don't know. I would appreciate your prayers. I will tell you right now that I don't believe that any Republican will win the general election for governor. I know that no Republican will win the race for U.S. Senate. But that doesn't have to be like that forever. Cindy and I learned just a tough lesson on November 8th, 2022. And that was simply that our people did not show up. It's called apathy. It's called frustration. Midterm elections. My vote doesn't count. I'm not going to vote early. I'm going to vote on election day. 3 weeks later, oh my gosh, grandma was sick, or I had to go to the doctor. I got called out of state to work. Statistics show that 1 in 3 people, 1 in 3 Republicans did not vote. So, I think that's probably different in here, but it happens. Get your vote in early. Get out, knocking on doors. Make sure all of your family, your friends, that they are registered to vote, and not just take their word that they're going to vote. Get them. You go to work with the circuit clerk and get that ballot. You can help them. They don't even have to come. You can help take it to them. There's a lot of legwork, guys, but if we're going to see a better Illinois and a freer Illinois, and we don't have to worry about government paying for abortions, we don't have to worry about government coming after your guns, we don't want to worry about what they're teaching our children in school, we don't want to worry about them coming into our homes and telling the parents how they're going to homeschool teach their children, we don't have to worry about them coming out and grabbing a child needlessly out of a home with DCFS and placing them in who knows where for who knows what. That's how you destroy a republic. And it is happening right here in Illinois. California, Illinois, New Jersey. I know President Trump won. That feels good. Look at the numbers. He lost to Harris by the exact same percentage that I lost to Pritzker, okay? Not saying it's rigged. I'm saying we are not showing up. Do you realize Cook County is the second largest county in the nation, right behind Los Angeles? Do you realize there are more Republicans in Cook County than any county in the nation? But yet every year, every election, 30%, 30%, 30% is all that ever shows up to vote. And it feels good when downstate 50, 60% turn out, but downstate 70 and 80 have got to start turning out. That's the only way, and it's up to us to push that message. Otherwise, we're going to keep losing, and it's just going to be a tough existence here in Illinois. But my encouragement to you is keep fighting. Anybody that has family that's concerned about this homeschool bill, keep calling your legislators, but don't worry about it. They pass this silly thing. You just keep doing it. You don't have to report to anybody. The public school system, they can't even take care of the truancy. They still have a 30% truancy in public schools. And although it's up to ROE and we've got good people in those systems, we've got good people in our schools, but they just can't keep up with it because of overburden of government regulation. It's kind of like COVID, when I told people don't shut your business down, don't shut your church down, keep doing it, just keep doing it, okay? Because they cannot tell us. And if at such a time they start passing laws, well then maybe that's the time that we rise up and take hold of these guarantees that we have in our Constitution to create a new government. I pray that it does not come to that. I pray that we have a backbone to stand up against some of this nonsense. I pray that we begin electing good people like Crestel with backbone. I'm gonna tell you something. This last 3 years, I over the course of the last 4 years, I have endorsed candidates, and they promised me they would join the Illinois Freedom Caucus. Jed Davis is the only one that lived up to that promise, and I can name off 6 others that refused to once they got in, because the temptation of power and control, it's serious. So they get in and they're promised, hey, if you just kind of stick with us and don't, these guys over here are a little too radical, you stay with us and we'll get you a leadership position soon. That's another $10,000 a year in your pocket. Start paying attention to these judges we're voting for. Start paying attention. I drove right past your state senator's sign right down the road here. Friends, it's time for change. I've served with all of these people, okay? They're good people, but they're terrible politicians. They're selling us out. So anyway, I really didn't intend to go down that road, but this is just looking at these deer heads and sitting here with the ISRA and I love Jesus, and I'm like, okay, we're going to talk, okay? So listen, thank you so much for your past support. Serving 4 years in Springfield, yeah, the ISRA has a very capable presence. I'd like to say that it matters. You've got to have that presence. These crazy people, these people on the other side of the aisle, they're after one thing, and that's to strip us of our guns. So God bless the ISRA for standing firm and pushing back, but we as individuals have to be ready to do that in our own front yards as well. So August this year is election. Every county needs to have every precinct filled with an elected official. If you haven't heard a thing out of your county, GOP, that usually means one thing: you need new leadership, okay? So get out there, pick up petitions to run for government, get behind people like Crystal, help her because she's going to need it, and let's win and let's take back Illinois. It is possible. Statewide, the big races, it's going to take a while. But anything's possible if we put our minds to it. We're Americans and we can do it. Are there any questions? And I'm going to leave you alone. Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me. I wonder, do you know where it stands as far as separating from up there? I just wonder.
The separation issue, I thank you, because I was one of the, I co-sponsored HR 101. I'm 2019, I'm a brand new state rep, and I had the opportunity to co-sign this bill to separate from Illinois. I'm like, that sounds like a good idea. Let's make, like I said, shoot first and ask questions later. It was a resolution, and all that resolution did was send the question to DC. It said, hey, we got problems here and we need help, electoral college, whatever else, or maybe some kind of a form of split. But the reality is, here's the reality. The reality is, yeah, it's possible. There's 3 different ways to split a county or a part of the state, but that has to pass in Springfield. That's not going to happen. If it does pass both houses, if the governor signs it, then it has to pass in DC. Okay? So if you remember, the last time this happened was when Abraham Lincoln split West Virginia, and he kind of did that, in the dark of the night, which needed done. So the other thing that we keep hearing about is this bill that Indiana has passed. It's probably going to sign. It's still got to demand the same direction, okay? And I will tell you, my firm belief that what Indiana's doing is very smart, because what it's doing, it's raising awareness to Illinois businesses. And they're saying, I'm going to go over there. Up in Chicago, when we were running for governor, almost every Benton, I'm not saying this wrong, Benton golf clubs, some of the finest golf clubs made in the world. I met the owners, toured their plant. They have 5, 10, 40 acres. Every business up there has ground bought over in Gary, Indiana, right across the border for an exit plan. So that's what that is, guys. Business is going to go over to Indiana, but here's the reality. California, Texas, Colorado, they've got 6 and 8 splits. Everywhere there's a big city, somebody wants to get rid of it. Let's theoretically say every state split just once, which if every state if they granted a split in Illinois, well, then they'd have to grant a split in every state. And instead of 100 states, we'd probably have 300. And out of those guys, if we just split it right down the middle and had one split in every state, we'd have 50 states, and we would have 50 city-states. Guys, I've done the research on that, and it's not pretty, because all these cities of Chicago would have 2 U.S. senators, and they'd have a lot more. State-wise, it'd feel good, but federal-wise, Donald Trump, somebody like him, would never, ever, ever get elected again. All the power. So I know it sounds good. I know it feels good. Whoever's pushing it, keep pushing the narrative. That's fine. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I don't think it's ever going to happen, and I don't know that it's healthy. So way too long of an explanation, but there's a lot of conversation. I want to be brutally honest with you about that. Anything else? Yes, sir?
What about the RNC chairman? Do you think he's going to make any difference?
RNC chair, I love him to death. Okay, there's 2 RNC chairs. Are you talking about Illinois?
Yes.
Yes. So Dean White and Rhonda Belford to the south. Guys, we have a problem in Illinois, and it's called the Illinois Republican Party. Okay? And we've got to shift it and switch it. They're good. I love Dean to death. He supported me in the governor's run, but there's just nothing happening. And I can tell you right now that the national chair, he doesn't know who Dean White, he doesn't know who Rhonda Belford is. I just found that out yesterday. So that Illinois is off the radar. President Trump won. You think no, Illinois. The federal government's going to focus on these swing states: California, Illinois, New Jersey. We're a cesspool, and it's up to us to fix it. Anything else? Yes?
Go ahead.
Nope. You're good. Go ahead, Crystal.
What about Aaron Del Mar? He was recently elected.
Aaron Del Mar, I considered him a friend, but he doesn't consider me a friend now, because every time he runs for something, I say, don't vote for this guy. Sorry, but he's trouble. So I have no confidence or faith in Aaron Del Mar. I'll say it right here to the camera. I've told it to him. That's the problem we have. We've got people looking for positions. We don't have people looking to help you, the voter. No, it's all power. Chicago, it's a mess. It's power and position. Maybe in your church you get it. ISRA, I'm sure you have it. Somebody gets a little title, look at me, and I'll come in and vote and show up and go home. I don't really care about what happens. I have a position. That's what it's all about. I'm sorry if I popped your bubble, but that's brutally honest. I told him that 2 days ago. So, yes.
I just had a question about the get out the vote. Since we can't depend on the Illinois GOP, obviously because they didn't even talk about just this past election, what do you think about Charlie Kirk and Scott Pressler, their apps that they have, that the grassroots organizations all over the Illinois could have applications on their phone like that and do their own get out the vote and don't rely on the so-called leaders?
No,
Would that
definitely.
not help?
So Charlie Kirk and Scott, yes, absolutely. They are amazing. Again, Charlie Kirk's from Illinois.
Yes.
They're going to go out where they can make the biggest difference. They had an amazing turnout at Illinois State in Champaign a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
But on this very last page of this map, the precinct vacancy strategy. It's hard work, guys, but right here's our immediate salvation. And it entails every precinct in every county being full of duly elected precinct committee people. Do you know what Aaron Delmar did the very moment after that he was elected chair? He fired all the other wardmen who were selected that spoke out against him. He let them go to fill them back up with people that think like him. That is no good. We have to have duly elected precinct committee people who, then you've got a precinct. You have a responsibility to go out and help make sure, your courthouse, your circuit clerk has that information from you. Everybody that lives, are they registered? When did they vote? The last 4 election cycles. So you've got that information. Like I said, it's hard work. You gotta have to. J.B. Pritzker spent $35 million in 2022 paying people $30 an hour to walk the streets of Chicago to look for low propensity voters, somebody that maybe hasn't voted in the last 10 years, but guess what? They had all this information on there. I mean, I saw it. One day when we were up in the suburbs knocking doors, I recognized a Senate staffer in the Democrat side that I knew real well, so I jumped across the street and I said, "What are you guys doing? You're packing all these bags and stuff?" She pulls out her iPad, and they had all this information. So, John Doe that lived down the street where she was headed next, voted maybe in 2010, and he had 3 other people, children, parents, whoever, in his household who were also old enough to vote, and they weren't registered. They had it. So they could show up to the door and sign him up, get him back to vote. Let's register everybody else. We'll bring you a ballot next week if you sign here. Bring the ballot. We'll come back, collect the ballot next week. You need help, you need to know anything about any of the people running. That's how they did it, and that's how they win. And we can't do that because we don't have that app. Charlie Kirk's got amazing stuff, but we have got to start the groundwork of doing that and getting the people to vote. When I ran for governor, we needed 60% of all registered voters to vote, and we could win. And I just knew that movement existed in Illinois. 45%. That's all it turned out. And Pritzker already had 30 of it packed in his mail-in balloting. So listen, this isn't doom and gloom. Thank goodness we're sitting here today. Think of what it was like 250 years ago. You had muskets and you were spread out. You had no form of communication, and you were facing the greatest army on the face of the earth that you thought could come in and just obliterate you.
But know what? It worked. We're here right now.
That's right. And so don't you dare get down and out with what I'm telling you and get hopeless. All we have to do is maybe put in 40 to 80 to 100 hours in an election season to get out there. I know I get people calling me, I don't know if you're going to run for governor or not, but I can't help you like I did last time because I got kids now and work, I got to work, blah, blah, blah. I get it. I understand it. But we're still free people, and like Ben Franklin said, we better figure out a way to keep this republic. So, friends, God bless you, and thank you so much for letting me entertain you with this. It's an honor. Crystal, thank you we have had an amazing day. And I just thank Bureau and LaSalle, and I didn't even realize we're in Livingston.
Yes,
I
this
didn't
is
even.
Livingston.
I thought I'd missed that. So God bless you guys. Thank you.
God bless you too.
Thank you. Thank you.